Oh, well, good morning, everyone. So we're going to start with a new congregation song this morning. And it's called I Start My Day by Karen Drucker. The words will be out there. Can we get the words up on the screen, please? I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love. That's now I think you have it, right? Let's do that one more time. Start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. Love, love, love. Love, peace. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. Joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release. My day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet relief.
So good. Well, welcome everyone. I think my mic is finally on there. So good morning and thank you for being with us today, and welcome to everybody on Zoom. And we look forward to this day unfolding in perfection. Ha ha. It always folds in perfection. So today we have online for our practitioner of the day is Catherine. And so we just like to welcome everybody as well. And if anybody's new, my name is Reverend Tamara. I'm the spiritual director here at Centers for Spiritual Living, White Rock. So again, we appreciate you coming out on this sunny Sunday. But I want to take a moment to reflect in gratitude, and that I'm deeply moved to express our heartfelt appreciation for the First Peoples, for their enduring love and stewardship of our beautiful land. It is with deep respect I honor the privilege of living, loving, and playing and learning on this unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples. And with this acknowledgement, serve as a meaningful reminder that CSL White Rock, our vision is to create a loving, vibrant world that works for all. So we're committed to moving forward with understanding, compassion, and harmony as we are on this journey together towards a brighter future. So our teaching at CSL White Rock is based on the science of mind. It's a philosophy, and it honors all faiths and traditions. We recognize each of us as a spiritual being in the spiritual universe. By following our hearts, we seek a deeper experience of the divine, learning to live from inside out, to be peace and to be love. So welcome to our community. And now I'd like to invite our practitioner of the day, Diane, to lead us in meditation.
Good morning, everybody. Bonjour. Let's just settle in. There's a little bit of with this room, positive thing anyway. So you know what to do. I'm going to read few lines from The Altitude of Prayer by Joel Goldsmith, which is such a gem. So we breathe in and out, finding this place within where it is quiet. Emptying your mind from thoughts and worries. Just putting it, all of this in a bag on a shelf somewhere away from where you are right now. And breathing in this place of peace. This place of joy and comfort. And Joel says here, as prayer and meditation become increasingly a way of life, you discover that something of an unusual nature takes place. The kingdom of God, this very presence of God that is within you, makes itself known to you. It either speaks to you in plain language, or it announces itself in a feeling of the presence, or in an assurance. In one way or another, a moment comes when instead of talking about the presence within, or instead of seeking it, all of a sudden you feel it. Take a moment to welcome this feeling. There it is. Usually it is of such a brief duration that you wonder whether it really happened or whether it was your imagination. It was not your imagination at all. It was not. It really happened. And it will happen again and again. So we trust that presence is there always, never leaves us, never turns against us. So we can ask the presence, this moment so precious. What do I need to let go? What is in the way to welcome those precious moments? Could ask, what do I need to embrace? Our heart is open now. Our mind is quiet. Such a wonderful experience. That is available to all of us. Anytime we want it. Blessing, blessing, blessing for knowing this truth. Such a beautiful truth. So we come back in the room here, even if we don't feel like it. Namaste, beautiful people. Thank you. And musician, please. Thank you. Yep, we're on.
Everybody falls sometimes. Gotta find the strength to rise from the ashes and make a new beginning. Anyone can feel the ache. I think it's more than you can take, but you're stronger, stronger than you know. Don't you give up now. The sun will soon be shining. You gotta face the clouds to find the silver lining. Dreams that move the mountains, hope that doesn't ever end, even when the sky is falling. Miracles just happen. Silent prayers get answered. Broken hearts become brand new. That's what faith can do. Doesn't matter what you've heard. Impossible is not a word. It's just a reason for someone not to try. Everybody's scared to death when they decide to take that step out on the water, but it'll be all right. Life is so much more than what your eyes are seeing. You will find your way if you keep believing. See dreams that move the mountains, hope that doesn't ever end, even when the sky is falling. It's just silent prayers get answered, broken hearts become brand new. That's what overcome the odds when you don't have a chance. When the world says you can't, it'll take you. See dreams that move the mountains, hope that doesn't ever end, even when the sky is falling. Miracles just happen. Silent prayers get answered. Broken hearts become brand new. That's what faith do. That's what faith do. Even if you fall sometimes, you will have the strength to rise. That's a song by a band called Cutlass. It's called What Faith Can Do.
Michelle, that was amazing. Thank you. What a beautiful song. Oh, hello, everybody. My name is Janet Pope. It's hard to follow things like that. And I have the privilege and honor of introducing today's guest speaker, Derek Hinchliffe. And it took me a while not to put a C in there, but I'm very good at it now because it's very important. So Derek is a retired television broadcaster, and my phone's decided to, there we go, and who relocated from the Okanagan to Vancouver Island 3 years ago, and now serves as a co-spiritual director, a leader, director of CSL Nanaimo. He started ministerial school with Reverend Mara and is on track to graduate later this year. And probably the most important role he plays is he is the partner to my daughter, Amanda. So welcome,
Yay.
Derek.
Thank you very much, Janet. Or can I call you Mom? Let's stick with Janet. That was beautiful music. Thank you so much. And the meditation, Diane, that was wonderful. You might notice that normally I use notes, paper, and Tamara always uses her iPad. So I'm going to try that this way. But if you see Amanda rushing up with papers, you know this isn't going very well. Because, you know, I'm getting old. I turned 65 earlier this month. So I'm a bona fide senior. So I just wanted to mention I'm very happy to come and talk anytime. But if you could do it between Monday and Thursday, I could get a free ferry ride over. So that might make it a little easier. True story. On my birthday, Amanda had to work. So I took myself out for breakfast. I'm a pancake connoisseur. And I knew there was a restaurant that gives you a free breakfast on your birthday, and that's Smitty's. And we don't have a Smitty's in Nanaimo. So I went to another chain and I said, please give me your seniors menu. So they did. And then I was very disappointed to see that they consider seniors anybody over 60. So I'd missed 5 years of a seniors menu at this restaurant. Earlier this month, Tamara talked about sway. And this week, the topic is blossoming in the sway. Now, these are global themes that were written by people down at CSL, and that was more than a year ago they came up with these themes. And I can't help but think, were they like psychics? Because there's no question that this is one of the most difficult times that I've lived in, and this topic is so much more relevant today than I think it's ever been. Because the question is, how do we find comfort in discomfort and still be true to the capital T truth of who we are? How do we find comfort in discomfort and be true to the capital truth of who we are? Sorry, the capital T truth. So first we need to embrace our authentic self. I don't know if it's easy for you to know when you're out of integrity. That's how I know when I'm not being my authentic self, when I'm doing something that just doesn't feel right. And last week, Tamara talked about our intuition, the animal's version, or our human version of instinct. And I particularly like that you said that our intuition will never lead us astray. It won't suggest that we do something out of integrity. Many years ago, I was the noon news anchor, and I was terrible. I was probably in my mid-20s. And I wasn't very good. And I was being replaced from that position. And my boss at the time said, if only we saw the Derek in the newsroom as the Derek on air, you'd be wonderful. And I didn't really understand what he meant, but I know now that when I was on the air, I was playing a role. I was acting like a news anchor, as I thought they should be. But it really, really came home for me many years later. When I watched myself on videotape twice in the same week for 2 different occasions. And the first one was when I was at a personal development workshop, and we had to stand in front of the camera and talk about our most embarrassing moments, or one of our most embarrassing moments. And for me, there was way too many to choose from. But I talked about a time quite recently when we were changing the technology at our news station quite drastically. And so we were like owned by the same company as Global BC. So there were some engineers from there that were coming up to do the work. So I had to go down for a meeting a couple of weeks earlier, and I'm in this big boardroom with a dozen people I've never met before. And the fellow that was going to come up first and do our work was sitting right next to me. So that was fine. So a couple weeks later, I get the call in my office, David Hamilton's here to see you. So I come out and I look and I say to him, oh, I was expecting David Hamilton, the guy sitting next to me. But this was the guy that was actually sitting at another part of the table. He says, I am David Hamilton. And I said, no, you're not. The receptionist is looking at me like, Derek, have you gone crazy? But I couldn't help myself. And that was really embarrassing. And it was difficult for me to stand in front of a group like I just did and say that I was stupid enough to tell a person that they weren't who they thought they were. The same week, I was also on videotape for my news station. We were charged with contempt of court, which is very serious. And what had happened is that there had been a trial underway, and there was an undercover RScP officer who was was on the stand, was one of the witnesses. And I knew we can't do anything to identify an undercover RCMP officer. What we did was we showed video of her from behind as she was walking away. And what we were charged with was the fact that people could recognize her just from the, style of her hair, the color of her hair, and the gait of her walk. So I was being interviewed by one of my own reporters and by other reporters, and I said, no, I don't think we're in contempt. I think that you couldn't have identified her by those things, but I didn't believe that. I knew we'd screwed up. I knew we'd screwed up badly, and I wished we hadn't done that. But I was saying something that I didn't believe because I had to, because that was the company line. So watching those two videos, me talking about the most embarrassing stage of my life, and me not being integral, not speaking my truth, and the juxtaposition was just huge. So the big question for this week is, how do we stay true in the face of uncertainty? And the first thing to recognize is that change, any change, can be frightening. It takes us out of our comfort zone. Even if it's good change. I know I always take, as a man, I can tell you, like, I need an hour or so to sort of get used to a new idea, even if it's good. And we're in a period of enormous change. There's two things I never would have thought that I would see in my life. One thing is the Hudson's Bay closing, and the other is Canada not being a sovereign country. So how do we survive all this turmoil? And I like the analogy of being a whale living in the ocean. And there could be a storm blowing like heck on top, but the whale's underneath the water and doesn't really notice what's going on top. But how do we stay there? For me, I changed the way I consume news. I know, Tamara, you talked about, I don't think you were watching any for a while or certain days. I'm a news junkie. So what I did is I changed my viewing habits, and I watched a lot less American news and more CBC, which kind of backfired because right away, all the CBC news was full of American news and how it was affecting us. And it's really easy to say there's a divine plan. It's okay. This is all unfolding as it should. But Amanda very beautifully reminded me that I am a part of that divine plan. And so is every one of you. Because the divine plan, just saying that is spiritual bypass, as Amanda talked about, or pardon me, Tamara talked about last week. So in my case, it would be just saying there's a divine plan and leaving it at that. But okay, I'm part of the divine plan. What can I do? It's not like I can call up world leaders and just tell them that they're being stupid, as tempting as that is. And CSL invites us to do what they call sacred activism. And they talk about the fact that for some people, going on marches and carrying banners and protesting against things, that may work for them. But I'm sure you've heard this, we're always for something and not against something. And for me, that came up, I was at a hockey game last week, the week before the Canucks game. And of course, I've seen this on TV a lot. Everybody booed during, not everybody, many people booed during the American national anthem. I hated that. I think that's really disrespectful. And what I did instead, I really sang louder, which people around me may not appreciate. I sang louder when it came to "O Canada." Like, I'm not going to boo their national anthem, but I'm going to really boost ours. So we can do things that are within our sphere of influence. And for me, I like to think I'm funny. And so I try and make jokes to the grocery store cashier or the server at the restaurant. And I'm thinking I'm making their lives a little better. And especially with the servers, I'm probably doing more harm than good, because they're going, okay, buddy, the table's waiting. Can you just stop talking? But I work part-time, although at this time of year it's full-time, at H&R Block. I do taxes. And almost every day I see somebody who is in serious financial trouble. And I'm sure they're feeling very embarrassed because they've got themselves into quite the hole. But I make it a real point to treat them with dignity and respect and not let them or not make them feel anymore like they've screwed up. Here we are. This is what we've been dealt with. Like, how can we move forward from this? And CSL expands on sacred activism by saying, whatever your talent, be true to it. Sacred activism is a sacred consciousness where you embody the best expression of you. The best expression of you that not only makes your life full, but you produce the butterfly effect so that the world vibrates and flourishes in the same tune of love. So where do your talents lie? If you like to knit, perhaps you can knit some slippers for somebody who's in need of them. Do you bake? Maybe you can make some protein cookies and hand them out to the homeless. Or maybe you can make a point of spending time with someone who's feeling lonely. I have a friend in Victoria who rides her bike to work, and she rides through a park. And so she started carrying feminine hygiene products with her and handing them out to people that were living in the park. And that really leads me to believe that there's no limit to what we can do. Like, the ideas are limitless and your talents are limitless, but whatever it is that you think is your God-given talent, spirit-given talent, that's how you can make a difference. And then you may wonder, well, how much of a difference am I really making? And I love the story. I call it the turtle story. There was a man who went out for a walk every day around a small pond in his neighborhood. And he saw a woman who was there every day. She was on the far side, but she had this metal cage beside her, and she was just sitting on a chair. He didn't know what she was doing. But one day he walked over there to take a closer look, and he saw that the metal cage had 3 turtles in it, and she had a turtle in her lap, and she was brushing off its shell. And he says, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Algae and scum can build up on their shells, and it prevents them, from absorbing heat, and it corrodes and weakens their shells, and so they die prematurely." And the man said to her, "You're very kind to be doing this, but are you really making a difference? Because there's a million turtles out in the world, and they don't have someone to clean their shells." And she replied, "Young man, if this turtle could talk, he would say, I am making all the difference in the world." So it doesn't have to be huge. It can be just little acts of kindness. Another example of being a part of the divine plan is my sister, my younger sister, and her husband were supposed to travel to Vietnam last fall. They do a lot of world traveling, and this time they were going to go down to Vietnam and Cambodia. But he had a health scare, so they couldn't go. And then, completely unrelated to that, she got a phone call from a friend who had been hosting a couple of brothers from Ukraine up in Prince George. And one of them wanted to go to culinary art school in Vancouver, and they needed a place to stay. And so my sister, she's very generous. She said, they've got a carriage house in their backyard that we usually stay in, but for the next year, this young student from Ukraine is staying there. And a friend of hers said to her, "Mary, you usually go out to see the world, but this time the world is coming to you." That's being a part of the divine plan. I'm reading a book for my ministerial that I hope to finish this year, because it's not like Tamara and Amanda were on the fast track. It's just that I'm on the really slow track. So I'm reading a book called Everything is Spiritual, Finding Your Way in a Turbulent World. It's written by Rob Bell, who used to be, I haven't finished the book yet, but I know he was like a minister at some huge church down in the States where they'd like do 3 services in the morning, each of them with 10,000 people. So like he was doing more enormous stuff, but then he went more to science of mind. But he says, what an astonishing phenomenon this is. This life that we find ourselves in. It is like an endless experience. Pardon me, it's like an endless invitation, this experience that we are having here. And we can say yes over and over and over again. And when we do, it opens up new depths, new connections, new possibility. So how do you find comfort in the discomfort? I think the first thing that is most important is don't run away from the discomfort. That's more spiritual bypass. Allow yourself to feel it and remember that you are part of the divine plan. Find something that you can do, and you will help make the world a better place, something that is authentically you. And then the butterfly effect, because you're helping someone, and then their interaction with the next person is on a higher vibration, and then it's just so on and so on, like the old shampoo commercial. Just remember, you can make a difference. You can make a huge difference when you are being true to the truth of who you are. And now I'd like to lead you in a little spiritual mind treatment. So I'll ask you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. And know that with each inhale, you are breathing in life-giving oxygen. And you're breathing in spirit, because spirit is all there is. This always on energy of love permeates everything. It is working through me, it is working as me, and it is working for me, just as it is for everyone who can hear my voice. The world is undeniably evolving, presenting us with new landscapes to traverse and opportunities to embrace. Change is our constant companion, yet amid these shifts, we stand firm in the principles and values that have always guided us. I know that in the outside world of effects, there are many things happening that I don't like, and some that frighten me. I also know that I am a part of the divine plan. I know that when I tap into my sacred self, the part at the very center of my core, the part of me that knows who and whose I truly am, when I tap into that, I am making a difference in the world. What may appear to be a small gesture can have an enormously positive effect as my active service ripples out through the community, the country, and the world. Together, we're creating a world that is anchored in peace, anchored in love, anchored in justice. I remember the words of Ernest Holmes reminding me that I don't have to give energy to the essence of being. I simply have to let the law act and respond to my vibration. I also know that at today's IGM, divine right action is taking place. Knowing this to be my truth, and with my heart overflowing with gratitude, I release my word to the law of action, and I allow it to respond to my vibration. And I ask you to please affirm this with me by saying, and so it is. Thank you. And it worked. You're on. Like, ooh.
And as always, I invite you to sing along. This is a fun song to sing along. It's a Gary Lynn Floyd version of the Prayer of Assisi. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me instrument of peace. You got that now? Sing along. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Where there is hatred, I will love. Where there is sadness, I will bring joy. Where there is darkness, I will shine. I am an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. I invite you to stand and sing along. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Where there is hatred, I will love. Where there is sadness, I will bring joy. Where there is darkness, I will shine. I am an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Where there is hatred, I will love. Where there is sadness, I will bring joy. Where there is darkness, I will shine. I am an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument of peace. One last time. I am an instrument of peace. Thank you for singing along. So,
You. We are instruments of peace. Wow. Beautiful.
are.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And Derek, thank you for your beautiful talk. It was in my heart. And my beloved Deanne, beautiful meditation. Thank you so much. Actually, I'm Jill Ingalls, and I'm one of the practitioners here. Welcome, welcome, and to our online people as well. Welcome. And I've lost my notes here, so I guess we're just going to fly on and see whatever. So today is AGM day. I'm so glad to see your beautiful faces here. And in our online people, thank you so much for joining us today. And for our online people, unfortunately, you can't join in for pizza with us, but you are in our hearts, and we will see you at noon. And we really deeply appreciate your attendance here today. And one of the first things we'd like you to do is, after we complete our gathering today, is to go to the back of the room to see Christine there, and she will check your name off so we can vote for all the amazing things we're going to vote for. So that's our AGM. Okay, Sunday, April 6th, visioning session. Reverend Tamara is going to lead us in a visioning session after our gathering. And it's going to be all about our new space. It's on our way to us right now. It has storage, it has parking, it has a kitchen, it has us, lots of us, many of us, to grow and be instruments of peace. Yes. And that's on April 6th. And then on April 8th April 8th. Oh, yes. Okay, Sacred Circle. And that is with our evening with Liv. That's at 7 p.m. on Zoom. Beautiful experience to share in community with our practitioner Liv. And then on April 13th, we have conversation after service with my beloved Deanna and I. We will welcome everyone who wants to join in on a conversation with us. It'll be lovely. And then on Thursday, April 24th, we have a shadow course starting. Reverend Michelle Wadley will be giving this. I really encourage you to do this work. I'm going back for I don't want to tell you how many times, but she's done the forgiveness as well as the shadow. She has a new book, an updated book on the shadow work. I really encourage you to consider taking this. It's very, very good work. Little painful, but it's very rewarding in the end. And I think that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for your presence here today. And I'd like to welcome up our beloved Reverend Tamara.
See, what a fabulous morning it is. So good to see so many smiling faces here today. And Derek, that was great. I so appreciate you coming in and speaking for us. It's nice to hear different voices, different thoughts as we move through. So thank you. And Michelle, as usual, you're always on fire. I love it. It's so good. Yeah. And amen. Yes. Yes. I love the little ending there and shaking by our Marcus. Thank you for adding to that as well. It's so, as we're in this moment of gratitude and thanking each one, it is that time that we like to take that opportunity for everyone to participate in that law of circulation, to come to know the greater good for yourself, for this community, and for the world. So if you have a gift to give today, whether it's your time, treasure, or talent, please just hold your hand to your heart and know a specific good for yourself. Oops. And know a specific good for this community. And I invite you to know a specific good for the world. So with that, I invite you to join in on our affirmation that is going to be up on the screen. And if everybody would say with me, I joyfully and mindfully give, knowing that abundance flows through us and our community thrives. As I share, I know I am blessed, and so it is. So we have our ushers here in person that will pass the baskets. Please take out a little joy note for yourself, as we like to give back as we receive. And Michelle's going to sing a new song again today. I think I have a slide for this one too.
Yeah, so this is our new abundance song, our gratitude song. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. Celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share fully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. I know that all that I give to myself.
What a perfect song. Thank you, Michelle. So as I receive these wonderful gifts, you want to pick one for the online people for me? Why not? Aha, what is it going to say today? In Francais. Every time you smile at someone, it is an action of love, a gift to that person, a beautiful thing, Mother Teresa. So thank you, everyone. I keep smiling. And as we take these gifts and knowing that today we are grateful and we express this gratitude through this law, through the life of everything, knowing that Source is always with us. So we bless these gifts and say thank you, thank you, thank you to the greater good, knowing it is always unfolding in perfection. I let it be, let it go. And so it is. Sorry. And I now like to invite up Amanda and Derek, if you're willing, to join with us, as I would like to introduce our practitioners. And we also have our practitioners online. Yeah, come and join us. We're so fortunate to have, we've got a practitioner, Catherine, online. If we can spotlight Catherine. There she is. Yay. So just knowing that our practitioners are always available for prayer. It's always our great gratitude and service to provide prayer for our community. So you can either go online, maybe you can email Derek or Amanda, I'm sure, in Nanaimo, or if you're over in Nanaimo, make sure that you stop and see them they do meditations on Tuesdays. Yeah, and in the downtown Nanaimo area. And so just know that we're always available to hear, to support, especially in this time of, I don't even, upheaval, yes, uncertainty, whatever it is, that uncomfortableness that Derek talked about, when we're uncomfortable and we need a little bit of help to get through it. So just know that we're always here. And online, if you want to message Catherine, she'll give you a prayer online after service. And you can probably see Diane or Jill or Georgia today. And welcome back, Georgia, who just came back from China. Yeah. So I'd like to include everybody and stand for our final affirmation. And I think I did make a slide for this one today. So as we say, and we're going to do this in this thing called where the blank is, we're going to say, what did you say what was the main goal that you want us to remember, Derek? What one word? Authentic? Authenticity. Okay, let's use authenticity. All right, something wonderful is happening in me right now. It's this thing called life. It's this thing called love. It's this thing called authenticity. I know it. I feel it. I express it. I am it. And so it is. Welcome, Michelle, back for our final song. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day and stay.
And before we start singing, I just want to give thanks to Severin and Christine for filling in for Michael today. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Christine.
I release and I let go. I let the spirit of my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the spirit of my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more with my faith, I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.